A few hours ago, I discovered the campaign to try and relaunch a new generation of Stargate. What's interesting to me is that it's compatible with ideas I have myself for ideas I have been working on for several years for a Stargate reboot or a new generation Stargate TV show. And if you've found this video, you may have already read the notes, you may have already read my project plans and some of my ideas. In this short introduction, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the business background and the business model which can offset MGM's risk and make this a more viable commercial production. And I want to show you something. It's this. Let me show you a better picture. Yes, it's the Batmobile. It's a high-performance British luxury supercar design I've been working on for several years, and it is my answer to a fundamental problem of how do you finance entertainment projects, how do you finance lots of other projects. The answer is you've got to find ways to release cash flow. Now, I'm British, you can probably gather from the accent, and in Britain we're suffering from austerity and recession as usual. So you've got to be really imaginative and really innovative about releasing capital and finding ways to release capital to invest in anything: film, television, science, technology, engineering, art, design, whatever. My answer draws upon nearly a decade's experience on the fringes of the banking and finance sector, and it's to do with releasing capital from the high net worth community. There's very little from the government, very little from the banks, but if we can design and produce something of exceptional performance, exceptional luxury that will entertain and amuse people, then we will generate cash flow. But more importantly, my project at the moment has been to develop a car that will embody environmental technologies that will reduce climate change and that will solve climate change. And that's what I've been working on for the last 4 or 5 years, while in the background thinking about my strategic plans for the film and television industry. The advantage of my strategy is that selling 1,000 luxury supercars will generate £6,000 million revenue, and on top of that release at least as much again in terms of credit lines from the banks. And that's the money that can be used to invest in film and television, in my projects and others. And that's where Stargate-X, my project plan, can come into play. But there's more. For at least the last decade, probably more, I can't think that far back nowadays, I've been working on ways to look at the film and television industry in a different way. You've probably experienced it nowadays, the box set dropping down at Christmas. Yeah, 10 episodes of high quality entertainment. It's no longer episodic series, it's no longer one series after another dependent upon commissioning from a major studio or a major network. It's box sets. And I believe that we should take this to its next logical conclusion, which is the entire show, the entire story. My plan for Stargate-X, is a complete continuous 5-season story, 80 to 100 episodes, 1 hour duration, very high investment capital, hence that project. And produce the whole thing continuously. Don't rely on networks commissioning it. Don't rely on one season after another. Get it right first time. Perfect the design, perfect the story, perfect the model, deliver the entire show successively over several seasons, but commit to producing the entire show. Most networks, most production companies, the conventional industry can't do that. That's why I'm working on innovative models like that, and my work on the outskirts of the banking and finance sector. There's a campaign to launch a new generation of Stargate, and I can help. I can contribute my thinking, my design ideas, and I can maybe offset most, if not all, the risk. If you've read the notes, just a few simple notes about Stargate project, then you'll know what I'm doing. If you want a few more samples of my writing skills to see whether or not I'm actually serious about this, go back to my filmmaking website, norfilms.com, and look up the Predator script. A few years ago, I wrote a spec script for a reboot of the Predator series. At the time, people were talking about that reboot film that everyone now no longer wants to talk about. Well, I wrote my own spec script, and it's a hell of a lot better. If you want more samples of my writing, I've just published an ebook which you can get online from your local distributor. It's called Dragon's Veil. It's my interpretation of a possible sequel to or an extension of Lord of the Rings, but interpreted in a completely different way. What happens if Lord of the Rings wasn't set in some ancient mythic past, but in the far future, when the science had become like magic. And even that will spin off several separate TV shows. So I hope you can see that while I can't engage directly in the big Stargate debate, I have been thinking about it. I've been thinking about the storyline, I've been thinking about the production design, and I've been thinking about how to raise the money in my own fashion, the way I look at things. And maybe I've got a pretty weird way of looking at things, but it could work. The car, I'm now beginning to raise funds for that. I'm talking to investors and also preparing a crowdfunding campaign for the public, people like yourselves, to become involved. And once we get that rolling, then we build everything else. We build our own studios if necessary, build our own network if necessary, and we'll make something like Stargate, or we'll make Stargate. If MGM want to get involved, if they want to talk to me and the others who are actively doing this, let's all get together and let's put a really good deal together for everyone's benefit. So that's the business plan. I'm Michael. You follow all the notes, keep following the films, all my other work, and we'll get there eventually. See you soon.